YouTube, sometimes I go on accounts and I show you the things they've done wrong so that you guys can learn from their mistakes. Today is not one of those videos. Instead, I'm going to show you the most beautiful account I've had the privilege of seeing so far this year. The account in question is level 129, which means it is inches away from level 130. The account is VIP 8, which means our friend has spent a lot of money. 107,000 VIP XP is what? That's like close to, how much is it? Like 2 grand? And the other great thing about this account is with that spending, optimal things have been purchased. I will draw your attention first to the heroes, where we have Betty, Elena, Lord of Fear Aspen, and Halora. A really standard beginning for a Lord of Fear Aspen account. We've got Aspen with his 2 tenants. We've even got Onkiramaru and an Aspen as well. You can see B awakens on most heroes with a lovely giant killer A copy of Lord of Fear Aspen himself with a whopping 7,000 attack and almost perfect rolls here. Probably perfect rolls, to be honest, if you ask some people. Skill damage, giant killer to fire. Lovely. Really nice so far. If you look at the optimization of this team as well, you can see it's really clean. The only thing that might be a bit weird is an E2 Ignis, which probably ought to be maybe just 10 star. I don't think E2 was right, but even stopping it is fine. Weird, though, that we have an E5 Eloise, but I think she's just being used as a support hero at the moment, or maybe even not at all, to be honest. She's just kind of a weird thing to have around. But I don't mind this because we haven't even done the glory challenge. So why destroy an Eloise when we need to destroy her anyway to do the glory challenge? You need shadow heroes to make this possible. So no issue there when we get to level 130. This account, the most impressive thing is the resource management. Let me show you the bag. If we just ignore the random 27 million mice, which I'm not quite sure where they came from. I think it was just picked up from random events, and our friend high-rolled them, so it was like, okay, mice, sure. We actually have a lot of really cool stuff. First of all, 40 million Stellar Shards. One of the issues I see when people have this many Transcendence Heroes is they aren't prioritizing Stellar Shards. That's not the case here. 40 million is a lovely, lovely number to have. You typically want, for every 1 Transcendence hero you can build, about 15 million Stellar. We definitely have enough to match that. In fact, I think it's actually perfect. I think we do have about 60 million Stellar in total on the account, if not more. So that's very, very nice. As well, we've got a little bit of Divine Power Aurora Gems. I'd say a little bit. If we had access to Destiny, we'd be able to convert all of this into them as well. Yeah, bro kind of went crazy with Destiny stuff. It's a ridiculous amount. And I would now cringe. I would say, oh no, why have you got all of this? Prioritize cause and sublimation. But look to the next row and you can see we have enough for 4 fully sublimed Transcendence heroes, which matches the exact number of Transcendence heroes the account has. It is perfect. I love prioritizing of sublimation because sublimation is what you need before you can even get to Destinies. And you say lacks potatoes, Blue Bunny? No way, Jose. 1.8 million spiritual essence here doesn't sound like a lot, but remember that we can use that to get to the glory challenge and actually start getting the rewards here for having done level 120 in the tree for each hero, which means we have 2.7 million just sat here, which is going to be tons. We're a little bit short to get all the heroes to be Destiny, but I don't think Fran needs to do that. The only reason Fran would want to Destiny all of these heroes is so that he can get himself access to higher levels in the Destiny Temple. You need 4 heroes to get to, I think, Temple level 3, and then you only need 3 to get to level 4. The reason that's important is that will improve his divine power, and it will improve the maximum level that you can take your Lord of Fear Aspen to. I personally wouldn't keep the Destiny on Betty. Once you've gone ahead and broken that threshold, I would take it off of her again and just leave her at Tree of Origin 5 or even Tree of Origin 1, depending on what you need. And that means you can prioritize Destiny resources on the Aspen, the Halora, and the Elena. As well, it means you aren't wasting crystals of transcendence, which could be used for more transcendence heroes. You could even argue that just keeping Aspen at Destiny is also fine. One common mistake players make is they think you need to keep all the heroes leveled up in the temple to make progress. That's not true. Once you've got that temple level, it can't be undone. So you could just take Aspen to the highest Destiny you can, leave Halora at tree 5, leave Elena at tree 5, leave Betty at tree 1 or tree 5, and then use your crystals of transcendence to build more heroes. And only when you then have 6 transcendence heroes would you go and destiny some other people, because of course having Halora and Elena destinied will improve the power of the Aspen. But personally, I think having a full team of transcendence heroes is also extremely nice. It's not like this Aspen isn't already going to do tons of stuff as a Destiny upgraded hero, especially with an upgraded temple level. If we look at some other resources as well, you'll see that cores of origin are stuff completely available to us. Now, sadly, I don't think they're in chest form. I think we've already pulled them out. Yep. I wouldn't have done this. I think that was extremely twitchy-fingered of you. I like to keep chests because you haven't made the commitment. But it looks like Fran here has absolutely made the decision that he is going to be building Aspen, so he doesn't need to worry too much. And by having all of these cores on here and getting them to Noble, we'll even start getting access to some more stuff if we consider that the Glory Challenge is going to get us rewards for having Heroes cores, which is pretty awesome. You can see here, obtain 3 Transcendence Heroes Noble Cores of Origin is going to be something he can unlock, which is nice. As well, if you make sure that you have all those heroes sublimed, you'll get this stuff as well, which gets you even more sublimation on the account. The only issue with this particular chest that you get here is it doesn't contain everybody's cores, but it does have some good heroes like Freya, Star Alchemist Homejung, and Arania, so it doesn't matter too much. So when it comes to resource prioritization as a whale, our friend here has made sure to get all the resources that will allow him to make progress in the future. And I really like that. You see some whales who don't realize they need sublimation, or you see some spenders that don't realize they need all the stellar shards because they're too busy focusing on expanding the transcendence heroes on their account. Fran, the owner of this account, made sure not to make that mistake, and you can see he's got a really good varied selection of heroes. We even have 80 soul symbols here, which means the glory challenge should be no problem at all. So our friend has definitely really been, I would say, like, working his butt off to make sure that this account is really nicely tuned. And one thing I really want to talk about as well is this was with $2,000. That's, relatively speaking, not an insane amount of money to spend on idle heroes. It is early on a lot of money, but considering how much you can get for $2,000 if you know what you're doing, I'm so glad to see that Bro has made sure to pick up as many resources as he can, as optimally as he can. So yeah, A, $2,000 isn't too ridiculous for spenders. I've seen people spend way more before being level 130. And B, the stuff you have spent your money on is very good. So this is really nice to look at. This is a really cool account. To be clear, I'm not saying $2,000 isn't a lot of money, right? That's like the amount that people get paid in a month, right? on a solid salary for a lot of places. And if you live in somewhere that isn't in the West, $2,000 is ridiculous. Like, $2,000 is mad. But the other thing to talk about is the fact that when it comes to how much I've seen some people spend on this game, relatively speaking, it's not crazy. And if you are going to drop $2,000 on a game like this, you better flip and hope you're doing it right. You know, like, you see some people, they spend so much money, and like, dude, and what do you have to show for this? And it's like, I don't know, really. I just kind of bought stuff to see what would happen. You can see some weird stuff like the Ailerbacks at 10 star. I think that was to save some bag space. Personally, one thing I'm concerned about is whether we don't have an E5 in every single faction to do the Glory Challenge, but I think Ailerback copies shouldn't be too much of an issue. I'm pretty sure we're going to have hero chests or some degree of access to them. Yeah, there's probably... No, actually, no. Nope, is this in... Oh, there's 11 here. Yeah. So we can probably sort this out if we need to with some chests. It's not like Bro's going to be struggling for copies at all. You could even, if you want to, spend 5 soul symbols to undo this Ailerback, but I don't know if that's necessarily smart. But you've also got 2 Homejungs here, so you can probably just do an E5 Homejung. And that's a good hero to pair alongside Aspen, especially if you plan on pushing the Void Vortex with your Betty, which should absolutely be a top priority for you as soon as you get her up when you're level 130. So yeah, overall, really, really, really nice looking account. And I just wanted to show this to you guys because I really felt like we do rip on a lot of players and kind of say, hey, look, this guy doesn't know what they're doing. But Fran Lover has just demonstrated some really good principles, which can be applied to anyone, whether you're a spender or a free-to-play player. Because prioritizing sublimation, making sure you've got the resources you need when you get to 130, that's important for anybody. But of course, if you're spending money, that's exaggerated because you have more opportunities to pick up rewards. So I'm really happy, Fran. You've made a lot of great progress here. Do you need this much Destiny? Right now? Not really. But eventually, you will. So that's pretty cool. Now, artifacts. We haven't talked about these yet, and I think they're equipped to the heroes. Let's go show you what we're rocking. We've got Dragon Ruyi Scepter. Really nice that you've prioritized getting deific stuff, because a lot of people just go, ooh, Destiny, 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 and they forget about this. So Dragon Ruyi is fantastic. We've got Demon Bells on the way up. I know there's 2 glittery Demon Bells, in fact, on this account. I can show you here in the Almost Workshop if we look at Artifact Regress. So there's 2 Radiant Demon Bells. And one thing you'll notice is we don't have a Breath of Forest Spirit. Instead, we have a splendid Lingering Melody of the Universe. Now, at first sight, one thing we could have done was get ourselves a glittery Lingering Melody of the Universe and a glittery Breath of Forest Spirit. And you might think, wouldn't that be more optimal? I wouldn't disagree with you if you thought that. Breath of Forest Spirit is phenomenal, thanks to the skill damage buff it gives. I'll show you what that artifact is for any of you wondering. It's this one right here, which is the enhanced version of Antler's Cane. It's got some really, really nice buffs, and the 300% skill damage is wild. However, one thing about Antler's Cane is the only way to obtain it is if you get it from an artifact chest or by using relics. The one issue we have is Demon Bell also has that problem. Fran decided that he'd rather get 2 splendid Demon Bells before getting himself an Antler's Cane. And I think that's a fair decision. So Fran, once you've got these 2 additional Demon Bells, get 2 Antler's Canes, make a glittery Breath of Forest Spirit, and that's going to be another fantastic addition to your account and really help in pushing things like Void bosses. Overall though, the account looks absolutely stunning. The account has prioritized the right artifacts. We had an elusive mirror there as well, which will combo nicely with Betty. And having an elusive mirror at Splendid, 2 Demon Bells at Splendid, just feels really good to me. You even got Crown there if you ever wanted to experiment with defense. So overall, a really, really cool and refreshingly optimized whale account, because normally new players to the game don't know what they're doing, but Fran definitely did his homework, and it shows. So, you might not see a $2,000 account that's only a few months old very often, but if you do, I sure as well hope they look like this one. And if you're a spender and you want to learn more about Idle Heroes, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and hopefully you can learn a lot and be like Fran. Until next time, have an amazing time, and of course, happy idling.